This is the China Hollywood Greenlight Podcast, episode 27.
And rolling sound. Quiet. Here we go. Ready.
Speeding.
120, take 7. And action.
This is Karen McCann, the host of the China Hollywood Greenlight Podcast, a podcast about creating and distributing content for both Hollywood and China. If you like the show, please go to iTunes, subscribe, and leave a rating so other people can find this podcast. The more we work together, the more opportunities will be out there for everyone. Any links mentioned in the podcast can be found in the show notes on my website, chinahollywoodgreenlight.com/podcast, and look for this episode, which is number 27. A quick update on what I'm working on. Some of you may know I am developing a membership website to connect writers and producers in Hollywood and China. It's called the China List. I'm very excited that it is almost done. I will put the word out very soon about our launch date, so stay tuned. Before I introduce today's guest, I'd like to start out with a motivational quote to encourage our listeners to continue on their path to achieving their own green light. And today's quote is from Bruce Lee. He said, "The successful warrior is the average man with laser-like focus." And now for the main segment. Today's guest is Justin K. Muller. Justin is an American studio executive, producer, actor, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. Muller helped restore the Texas motion picture industry. He revitalized the studio at Las Colinas in Dallas, Texas. After coming under the management of Muller Entertainment, the studios at Las Colinas became a magnet for Hollywood producers seeking a professional and cost-effective alternative to filming in Los Angeles. The result of these collaborations led to television series such as Prison Break, The Deep End, and Lone Star. In 2010, Muller founded the Muller Film and Television Education Foundation, which provides scholarships and grants to students interested in pursuing a career in the film and television industry. Muller started laying the foundation in China since 2017 and relocated full-time in 2018. He currently is developing a multi-studio management platform with his Chinese business partner to launch Skywood, Muller & Low, which will be the first multi-studio platform in China. He has been congruently working with the Xiangshan Global Studios and has established the International Development Division to service the needs of foreign productions shooting on the lot. Well, Justin, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
Well, I've told the audience a little bit about you, but why don't you take a minute and tell us about yourself, your business, and your business?
Sure. So I started working at a very young age. I went to a small private school called Idlewild Arts in Southern California, about 2 hours outside of Los Angeles, closer to Palm Springs, if you know where that's at, of course.
Of course.
And then came back to Dallas and started working with Panavision, the camera company there in Dallas, but also based in Woodland Hills, California, doing sales and marketing, and had a very unique opportunity to start renting lighting equipment to Barney and Friends, the Purple Dinosaur.
Oh, really?
So I got my first start renting lights to the production, and that was me off and running at a very young age. So at 22, I had a full company called Muller Entertainment that I established to provide lighting and grip rentals primarily. And then I approached the studios at Las Colinas with their previous ownership and said, "Hey, can I put my lights at your studio?" They said, "Yeah, you can put your lights over here, but why don't you try to come manage the studio?"
Oh.
So I was like, okay, I'm 22 years old. I can do this, right?
Why not?
So landed at the studio, took over management. I was working purely off of commission. And there was problems right and left. And, I had to overcome so many challenges. And then by 2004, I got a group of investors together and we were able to purchase the studios from the previous ownership and really put some money into the infrastructure and redevelopment of the property.
Wow.
And we were off and running, and we had some good relationships with some local producers that had connections with 20th Century Fox Television.
Okay.
And I was able to negotiate a non-show specific contract to bring Fox Productions to the studio, which really stabilized our whole operation, was able to allow me to bring the right tenant mix and really create a really fun, creative environment, campus environment. And that was me up and running at, a very young age. So they always said I was the youngest studio president in the United States. So I don't know if it's
22.
True, but I'm sticking with that. Now, fast forward, I'm now almost 40, living here in China, in Ningbo, and based here at the Xiangshan Global Studios. And how I got here was, I had a vision for China to create a multi-studio management platform that could really stabilize the industry. And so I already had my eye on China and kind of enjoy being around the Chinese culture and the environment, already being back in Dallas. And I met my new business partner in Dallas when he was still in college. And we both decided, hey, let's bring all these ideas and concepts from Las Colinas to China. So that's how we really landed here in China. And we've been quite successful. And I was also teaching some master guest lecture classes over at the Beijing Film Academy.
Wow.
Which actually introduced me over here to the Xiangshan Global Studios and has really paved the way for creating this multi-studio platform. I didn't come in, I'm going to do a big studio management platform. I really came in, let's take it, step by step. Let's kind of learn the operation and what's currently going on in China. We know there's a need. And so, not making big announcements, but doing everything kind of under the radar and really step by step and being very humble and, friendly with everyone to really create what I call an open gate policy. So that means, you're open to meeting and talking with everybody, interacting, because we really are a film and television community. We're quite small. So if you have an open gate policy, that means anybody's welcome to contact me, to engage with me. And if they need advice or help in any way that I can help, if I can make someone else successful, then that sometimes will turn right back around to me. Maybe not right away, but maybe 5, even 10 years from now.
So you sort of answered the first question, but let me just expand on that. My first question is usually, why did you enter the China market? And it sounds like you found your partner early in the U.S., and then you two decided to open this multi-studio platform. Could you kind of explain to the audience what exactly is a multi-studio platform?
Sure. Well, the easiest way to explain what a multi-studio platform is, it's much like a hotel group. So if you think about a major hotel operator, they have a central hub for everything from their purchasing, from their legal, to their marketing, everything you can think of, it's all centralized, right?
Right.
And then they have a different level of service versus 5-star, 2-star, the different star systems that a hotel operator has. That's a multi-studio platform, along with matching with the asset type. So there's many different asset types, such as A-class property, which would be more like what's in Qingdao, or B-class property, which I'm currently at now with the Xiangshan Global Studios. And they're hoping to become an A-class in the next 5 years. And then you have C-class properties that you see a lot of smaller infrastructures, and the way things were constructed and built are C-class. And then you can even have a D-class. So that would be very entry-level, very small, maybe needs a lot of repair work. But those are the different asset types. So what I'm trying to do is align everything on a benchmark. So making A-class truly have A-class service, B-class properties having B-class service, and so on and so forth. So that's not happening in China. So billions of dollars are being spent on building massive studio infrastructures, but they're not matching the service level to the asset type. So by having a multi-studio management platform like a hotel, you're really stabilizing the entire infrastructure. You're able to offer those levels of service based on your asset type, and you're having all of your centralized marketing and purchasing all through a central hub that we hope to open this Beijing office to do all this next year. We kind of slowed down with COVID-19, but we feel, we're moving slowly and steadily. But by really centralizing all those services, we're going to lower the operating costs. So example, when you have a big studio spending, thousands of dollars on marketing, and you have a small studio just spending a little bit, well, all those studios are going to be offered on one website called skywoodintl.com. and you're going to be able to go to one website and see all the studios listed there. So if I'm a producer and I'm looking at China, you can go to one website and see all these studios and all of what we offer and be able to have a standardized contract, standardized negotiating.
Wow.
If you want to, once you sign up with my platform, a producer can land at any studio in which we are a part of our network. Some studios might be exclusively managed by Skywood. Some studios might just be a marketing contract, but we're really trying to move to exclusive management is the goal in the next 5 years.
So are you providing production services with these?
Correct. So
okay.
we'll provide production services, especially targeted to the international users coming into China, helping them with their co-production partners, helping them with their camera, lighting and grip rentals, helping with crew hires, everything that a producer might need. We're providing a whole turnkey producer solution.
If you added financing to that mix, you'd have everything.
Well, that's also part of what we're doing. So we actually have a filmed entertainment fund that we're trying to develop right now with our Hong Kong partner, Solemn Films, based in Hong Kong. They are working with
Solemn Films. Yeah.
So Fred and I have been working closely for the last 2 years to develop a film fund that will be paralleled to all the studio management. So once we have the film fund and MultiStudio Management Platform, everything's going to be paralleled together, which will truly win the business to our properties. So we'll be investing in, bringing productions to our own studio properties in which we manage, which is not done here currently in China. And it's really going to stabilize the industry. I've been to so many Chinese film festivals, and many people are on guest panels and speaking, and they're talking about what will really change the landscape of the Chinese film industry. And they think all about the artistic side. Really, it's all about the infrastructure problem that we currently have, the challenges that we currently have there. And because the infrastructure is not providing a quality service to the production companies here in China are forced to work in conditions that are not favorable. Even though we're still building all this infrastructure and it looks beautiful, but the service level, how we maintain a property, how we treat producers when they're shooting on the lot, what are the end user, the producer, really needing? Listening to your clients. And so those are the types of things that we're doing. And I think so many Chinese developers have reached out to production companies asking them what they need or what they think they need. But the producers really don't know what they don't know. Right. Not a lot of sophisticated studio operators in China. So we know how to come into an operation, try to make it more efficient, try to make it more user-friendly, offering what you would normally expect in the United States and, turnkeying it, making it right for the Chinese market and for the international market coming to shoot here in China. So I really think I have a strong business case, especially now being at the Xiangshan Global Studios and helping them develop their international development division as their managing director. Right. And so we're really being immersed into what we're doing. We're just not coming in like a consultant. I'm actually doing the heavy lifting myself. So you're not, are you offering producers to film in Ningbo, or is it like several different locations at different studios? Oh yeah. Right now we have operations here at the Xiangshan Global Studios, but I also have a smaller studio in Zhengzhou, about 2 hours outside of Beijing. Oh, great. And we've been working with that studio for over 2 years. And so we're just slowly adding on more properties. We also have another Zhengzhou new development project that we're negotiating right now in a master arts complex. Wow. And so we're slowly, hoping to add in more studio properties as we continue to grow. You have a lot on your plate. Well, I sure do. Okay, that leads to my next question. Now, no 2 days are the same, but what would you say are 2 or 3 main tasks you do on a, quote, typical day? A typical day, well, a lot of it is right now reaching out to producers and trying to attract international projects to China. And during this COVID-19 period, it's very difficult right now to land a project this year. But I'm trying to forecast and line up projects for next year. And so that's really my day-to-day is really a lot of Zoom calls. I mean, I'm on Zoom calls from 8 o'clock in the morning till late at the night because of the time difference, especially if I'm dealing with somebody overseas. So we're constantly on many Zoom calls, engaging with producers, letting them know what we have available here in China, and really constantly marketing and promoting the Chinese market and what the potentials are and what types of incentives each studio is offering. So that's a lot of the day-to-day. But in addition to that, I'm also dealing with studio operations and the physical operation here. So a lot of studio inspections, driving around in golf carts, on the back lot, looking at situations with the existing domestic projects, how we can improve their efficiencies. I'm also introducing a bell and light system. The Chinese are not used to working with a bell and light system, where at the recording light.
Right.
So that's really, so the reason why they're not really recording clean audio in a lot of these soap operas that they typically do, or these Chinese dramas, are because they're not controlling the sound in the set environment. So, things are going off on set. Tourists are walking into their area. So really trying to educate them on what's called a true lockdown, locking
exactly.
and controlling your set environment. When people can enter a set, when it's, truly, we're hot, we're rolling, so I'm putting out flashing red lights and bells
exactly.
and doing all the things that you would normally do in the United States. I'm bringing all those little small details to the studio lot. I mean, when I first got here, we didn't even have director's chairs.
Oh, no.
I mean, I was just like, how do we service a client without director's chairs? And then once we order the director's chairs, everybody loves them. They want their name on it now, and they really want to feel like it's Hollywood here. So all these small details that add up to really creating the experience for these producers and people working here on the studio lot. So it's all my personal, heart is all about providing a high level service, having all the details from point A to point B, and making sure a client, when they're here, that they're happy and, constantly trying to service these productions and giving them a clean platform to work from. I always think of my job as I'm providing a clean artistic canvas. So if you think about an artist that, I'm getting another phone call. I'll start back. So if you think about an artist that, getting calls. Sorry about that. I'll take it back from the beginning. So if you think about an artist that needs a clean canvas to work on, right? So think about a painter. If they have a dirty, broken down canvas, it's got things left over from another artist, all these problems on this canvas, right? And then the artist is expected to paint on a beautiful, visual art piece. It's very difficult, right? They got to work around all these things and clean it up, and it distracts the artist from their intention of having a true high quality masterpiece.
Right.
So that's really my thought process. If I can provide a clean, organized, and provide a very clean canvas that these artists can then truly produce their artwork and concentrate on their art, and not all the mechanical things that studio operators need to be concentrating on. So that's really my I think where I come from. Success is providing those clean canvases, providing those clean stages, backlot, all those types of things that a producer, director, actor, and the crew want to work in, that type of an environment.
So now, not counting your partner that you met in Dallas, how do you find your business partners, and how do you suggest the listeners find perhaps a Chinese producer or a Chinese financier?
Well, a lot of it's based on relationships, and how I found my partners is, how I found the Solemn Films partner is because I used to work at Panavision. So I called up the LS office and said, hey, what's going on, with the Solemn Films? They made the connection, and, we were off and running. And so it's all about kind of connecting the dots, utilizing your social media and your sphere of influence, I think is really critical to finding those right business partners, and just trying to be more open-minded and really following up with people. I find that people are very complacent, or even sometimes lazy, about following up on their social media or following up on their LinkedIn profile, and even using WeChat is very, very critical, especially working here in China. Yes. So, it's all about the follow-up, and sometimes people get busy. They don't think about it. So if you get lazy too and don't follow up, that's also on your fault too. So it usually takes about 7 times of touching someone through communication or calls or physical meetings to really try to build a true relationship. So I think people get frustrated too quickly.
Right.
And they just say, oh, they never return my phone call. I guess they're not interested. Well, if you just keep on touching about 7 times, then if you get the strong answer no, then the answer is no, you can move on, but don't give up. So I think how you find true business partners is by looking at your existing sphere of influence. Who do you know? Connecting the dots, trying to work maybe through the back door, and then they can open up the front door and they can kind of meet in the middle there. LinkedIn has been a phenomenal tool here working in China.
Good.
It kind of really gives you a global connection. And most people that are interested in working or collaborating are using LinkedIn.
Good.
I find a lot of decision makers and producers and studio executives like myself are using LinkedIn to connect with new business connections. I've also landed a partner with CEC Entertainment, which is based in Dallas. They're a food chain that's catering to children.
Okay.
And they have their stores all over the United States and other countries as well. And they reached out to me on LinkedIn, and they want to come to China. So part of our studio development, we also have what's called an RD&E, which is Retail, Dining, and Entertainment Zone. So a lot of studios in China are having these RD&Es where they're looking for these types of American restaurant IPs to put in. So it's a good synergy there to partner with these types of retailers, restaurant operators, and put them in on my own RD&Es. And then, but in addition to that, the CEC brand also needs video content produced. So we're going to put their characters. They have a whole lineup of characters. We're going to shoot a whole bunch of music videos using these characters all over these different backlot sets here at the Xiangshan Global Studios. So it's all kind of connecting. It's connecting in kind of commercial real estate, but it's also connecting on an IP and music video and production level, and just trying to connect those dots. And you just got to think about it. Have a master plan board and just throw out all of your sphere of influence and who you know, and try to connect those dots and really try to make your sphere of influence introduce you to someone. It's all about the introduction, especially here in China. You can't really just walk cold call into a Chinese investor's office, but if it's connected by someone that knows you, that's trusted, it usually helps open the door to conversation and to see if there's any investment there that they're interested in doing with you.
Well, let's talk about perhaps an obstacle. What obstacle did you encounter in a past project? How did you overcome it, and what did you learn?
Well, I think the language. I don't speak Chinese.
Okay.
So, overcoming the language barrier has been the biggest challenge, I think. But, the culture really hasn't been an issue. I think I've kind of immersed myself into the Chinese culture quite well. And they always, the Chinese always say, well, you're more Chinese than me. So,
that's a compliment.
Yeah. So I think I've immersed myself into the Chinese culture quite well. The language barrier is the problem, I think, the challenge. But, surrounding yourself with people like my business partner, Felix Lowe, that can really not just translate, but really interpret what I'm saying, and training somebody that can do your translation, that kind of knows you and already knows what you're going to say. I mean, he finishes my sentences sometimes. So really having that real good person to help with the communication, I think also helps tremendously. So that's been the biggest challenge, and how I've overcome it is because I have a strong young business partner that understands where I'm coming from, that's willing to learn and grow from my knowledge. And we've been kind of growing together here in China doing all of this. So I think that's been the biggest challenge. But, I also have been learning some words, but, just the simple things, how to order ice water,
There you go.
Always like ice water. So you got to know Bing Shui.
Bing Shui. Yeah. Exactly.
So those little things help out. And, body language, I think, says a lot too. How you carry yourself, how you can interact with the Chinese also says a lot, So I think combining all of that together really has been the challenge, but also that's how I've been able to overcome all those obstacles.
So now a little bit related to this, if you could magically solve 2 current problems, what would they be?
I think the biggest challenge that we have is the permitting process in China. Getting the government approval, getting the film permit. If that process was somehow more streamlined, or somehow, because most of these studios are government owned, and my company never wants to own the studio. They're only to manage that studio for the government and have a kind of a private-public partnership with these government entities. So I would hope that in some case that the government can allow the studios that are government owned to have some type of more broader or closer connection with the decision makers of what's happening in Beijing, so that when these studios that are government owned are meeting with these potential producers and directors and people that are wanting to shoot in China, that they are listening to them. It's almost like a council of studio operators. If we could have some type of council of studio operators that are still part of the government here, that could really interact with the Beijing decision makers, I think that would really help with our whole permitting process right now. It seems very disconnected right now.
Right. And is there a second problem? Second issue?
I think that's the major issue. I mean, I find that the Chinese are willing to work hard on the productions and the crew, and they're pretty sophisticated. We have good camera and lighting equipment here in China. I think just really the other situation would be is we really need this studio management platform in China to really get these studios where they need to be in the marketplace, so that we can truly attract these international projects and co-pros and really meet the expectation of what the government's telling you they want.
Now, are you looking for projects yourself to develop or produce?
We have been looking at some projects ourselves, but primarily we've been trying to just to help the existing content producers that we come in contact with, and through my relationships, to help them just get the funding that they need to land here, the springboard startup money to land them here. But really, once I get this film fund truly operational, I think that's when we can start looking at our own content and creation as well, investing in our own content. I have several projects that are kind of still in development right now. They're not ready for production, but I think if we line up everything and we bring in this film fund at the right time, some of those projects that we have been developing for the last 2.5 years, we will definitely consider on putting some money from that film fund into those projects, since we already have that close relationship with those writers and creative people.
Are you planning on shooting in Chinese or English?
All of my projects that I've currently been in touch with will shoot in English.
Oh, well, okay. So, and they're all film projects?
Film, and there's also some web series type programs as well.
Okay. And what do you think the Chinese studios are looking for?
As far as looking for,
if there's any, probably not, maybe not this year, but perhaps looking to the future once this COVID thing, once we can start shooting again.
Yeah. So I really think that the studios and the infrastructure, what it really needs is more series type shows, more long format type programs, big budget web series type shows that really stabilizes your film community, because they're working on a consistent basis long term, versus a movie. You do so much work to prepare, and then you're only shooting for maybe a month or 2 months, and then it's gone away, and then you're starting back that whole process again. But really, television and long format storytelling really helps to stabilize the true production community, because then the crew will relocate and stay closer to the studio lot. So you're really creating more of a community. Right now, I feel like there's not a true production community of crew members working, because they just come here to shoot, and then they go back to Beijing, Shanghai, or wherever they came from. So it's very like they're in here, they shoot, they work nonstop, and then they go away. But if I have a long format show, the crews will relocate longer term, start putting them in housing, getting at them out of the hotels, and that would also help reduce the cost of the production companies as well.
Right.
So now the production companies aren't having to pay to put 300 people in hotels.
Oh boy!
The crew is already local, So they're already living here.
Right.
They're investing in the community, and that really creates more of an economic impact to the local community and really helps develop a true studio when you have the community living, working, and playing in this environment.
So maybe for the writers out there, maybe an area of opportunity might be this long form, like a television series to be shot in China or a web series to be shot in China. Maybe that should be like the next project they write instead of perhaps a feature film.
Correct. Yeah. So definitely, and there's sometimes more money in those types of long format projects, and more opportunities to sell merchandise and to expand upon that IP is through long format storytelling.
Oh, that's good news. Okay, great. Now this is kind of an esoteric question. If you could do your career over again, what would you do differently?
I don't. That's a good one. What would I do differently? I think maybe as a younger age, I mean, I was very meticulous, sometimes to a fault.
Okay.
So, and as I've aged, I've kind of learned, when things need to be, meticulous and when things can be let go. So I think if I had my career over again, with all the knowledge that I have currently, I wouldn't sweat the small stuff in some regard.
That's good. That's important. That's good advice for everyone. Now, here is a trick question. Okay. What question did I not ask you that I should have?
You mean from your list of questions or just in general?
Well, like if there's some, like for example, one of my guests is a lawyer, and his answer to that was, well, you didn't ask about the currency controls, getting money out of China. So my questions are rather general, but so I'm curious if there was some topic that you perhaps would like the audience to know about, or it could, or maybe I've covered everything. I mean, who knows? But
the top thing that comes to my mind, because I just got off the call with LA, is I do have some LA showrunners looking at doing a docutainment about what I'm currently doing here, because they believe my character as a person is very animated, very hands-on.
Right.
The Chinese don't know really sometimes how to handle me, like if the housekeepers are all lined up doing massage, and I see them, I'll just line up right there and we'll start all doing massage. So I'm very hands-on and very kind of animated. So I'm a character. So these producers thought that it might be a very unique and timely thing to do a docutainment.
Okay.
And follow me around here at the studios. And one, that would help promote the studios as a location. Two,
yes.
Everything that we're doing and documents, the hard labor and effort that we really are making here, and help tell the story in a very unique way. And I think that would really be something we can do fairly easily during this period of time where we can't bring any big projects in, but you can see the evolution of going through the struggles and what it is it takes to really land a project in China. And that's something that I'm currently working on. So that would be, I guess, something that you can ask.
I would love to see that. That would be great, especially for all.
You read my bio, right?
Perfect. Well, I hope they start shooting soon. Okay,
there you go.
What advice can you give those aspiring to tap into the Chinese market?
I think if you really want to tap into the Chinese market, you really have to have a love and passion for the culture in China.
Yes.
And the willingness to be a global steward and really trying to bring people together.
Yes.
Be a very friendly and open-minded person to different cultures and different lifestyles. And I feel like I've blended in pretty well. I don't think, the U.S. I don't feel like the U.S. is my home anymore. I feel like China really is kind of a home. I've been here for over 2 years now.
Wow.
So I feel like I've kind of set up shop, and I feel like China's my first home now. So I hope to continue living here and growing the business model, and have enjoyed meeting so many new friends and people here in China, and the food. I eat way too much food here. I mean, I gained so much weight. I thought I was going to lose weight moving to China. I actually gained weight. So the food culture here is quite nice. So I think just, keep on your goal, really set a goal, have, a short-term goal, but also have your long-term goal, and just to try to keep on moving forward and never give up on your dream. If you have, when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you think about when you wake up in the morning? Me, it's having a multi-studio management platform, creating something that can help people in the arts to be able to tell their stories. That's my passion since I was a child. I mean, I would be the child producer, even back in where I was living in Texas. I would block off the streets and control everything. Hey, now we're going to do a live entertainment show here for all the neighbors. So I'm always creating the artistic environment.
I think does it say director on there? It should say director on your bio. Yeah, that's the next one. That's the next one.
There you go.
Now, in conclusion, would you like to share any social media details so our audience can keep track of your work?
Well, I think the biggest thing is probably on WeChat. I do a lot of posting on WeChat, and my WeChat ID is capital K and then capital MULLER.
Okay.
And you can also find me on LinkedIn just by doing a simple search for Justin K. Muller. And if you're in the United States, you can also search me on Facebook. I'm still posting on Facebook. You can just search for Justin K. Muller as well and find me on those social media platforms.
Okay. I will put those in the show notes. Well, Justin, this has been fantastic. So thank you for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thank you very much. Glad to be here, and very nice to meet you.
Yes. Well, I'm sure we'll see each other in China.
I'm sure. How often do you come to China?
Not enough. I was planning to go to Hong Kong this year, but the film market got canceled. And now it's virtual.
Yeah, I was there last year at the Film Mart.
Yeah, well, maybe 2021 when things get back to normal. But
well, welcome to come see one of our studios or come here to the Xiangshan Global Studios. More than happy to give you a VIP tour.
There, thank you, Justin, and we'll see you at the premiere.
All right.
And now for my 3 key points and takeaways. 3 key points. Number 1, turnkey solutions. Justin plans for his new company, Skywood, Muller & Lowe, to exclusively manage Chinese studios. His turnkey studio solution will also include financing, so keep an eye out for announcements by Xiangshan Studios and their partner, Salon Films. Number 2, changing the Chinese film industry landscape. What will it take? Justin says it's not the artistic side, but the infrastructure. Billions of dollars are being spent on studio infrastructure, but Chinese studios are not matching the service level to the asset type. There is a gap in the market which could prove to be a huge opportunity for top-flight studio management companies, such as Justin's. Number 3, bells and whistles. Justin is introducing a bell and light system to Chinese studios. This is common in the U.S., but not so much in China. A bell rings and a red flashing light goes off by the set exits to tell everyone the set is off limits. In China, some dramas don't record clean audio because they are not controlling set environment. So you'll get tourists walking through a hot set. Justin hopes to educate Chinese studios on using a true lockdown. Takeaways. Number 1, 7 is your lucky number. Finding a business partner is based on relationships, as we all know, but you need to follow up with these people. Follow up on your LinkedIn profile, WeChat, etc. It takes 7 times of touching someone to build a relationship. This can be emails, phone calls, etc. Don't give up after the first few attempts and you don't hear back. Then if you get the answer and it's no, then the answer is no, but don't give up before that. Number 2, get on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very popular in China and many studio executives are using it, so keep your profile up to date. Number 3, writers. Write more TV pilots or web series. Chinese studios need more TV and web series if they are to develop a professional production community near their studio. TV or web series creation really stabilizes your film community, unlike films, where film productions set up shop for a few weeks or a month or 2, and then they move out. If you have a TV or web series, then the crew will relocate and stay closer to the studio. Chinese studio executives can form film crew communities right outside their gates. Also, producers can save money by putting up crew in houses as opposed to hotels. Now, lastly, Justin mentioned his Chinese partner, whose name is Felix Lowe. He's the vice managing director of its international development division. Felix recently did an interview on Middle Earth, China's cultural industry podcast. I think you should listen to both podcasts. This one, obviously, and then the Middle Earth one. So you can get the yin and the yang, an American and a Chinese point of view from two men transforming China's studio system. Felix also mentions, besides the Xiangshan Film School, which opened 2 years ago, they also plan to launch a production assistance boot camp to train entry-level PAs to work on an international level. So check it out, the Middle Earth episode number 36. You can see the links in the show notes. Well, that's the show. Thank you for listening. To show your support, please go to iTunes, subscribe, and leave a rating so other people can find this podcast. And screenwriters, producers, and agents and reps, we will soon be launching the China List. This is a China Hollywood screenplay database to connect writers and producers and reps in Hollywood and China. It will also connect producers to Chinese financiers. Stay tuned for our announcement on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. Just look for the China Hollywood Greenlight on those social media outlets. And I'll see you at the premiere. Bye. 一会儿见.